Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of TSF Reviews. We're going to be reviewing Falcon and the Winter Soldier. My finger's gone. Anyway, we're trying something new. We're going to be reviewing Falcon and the Winter Soldier. My God, what a show that was. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I loved it.
It was a good show, but okay, we'll get into that.
I know exactly what you're going to say, but I agree. We'll get to that in a sec. Now, this show explored a lot of themes that Marvel technically doesn't. Well, Marvel does do, but it's more nuanced than this. This was a bit more in your face with the message than
Mhm.
Yeah,
previous Marvel properties have been, because previous Marvel properties have addressed issues of power disparity and a lot of other things in society that exist, but they do it in such a nuanced fashion that sometimes it can go over your heads. But this series tended to be a bit more in your face about political standings and racism and all of that other stuff, which I enjoyed. Right, it was a good way to show us tell us that story. It was also a good way to look into Falcon the Winter Soldier. It's good to know that they can handle their own standalone properties. I mean, we know that let's be honest, WandaVision could have only been handled because it was the sitcom approach, where episodes were like sitcoms. So if you remove that and then ask Wanda to carry an entire series of season one of a show, she probably wouldn't be able to do that, right? But it's nice to know that Sam and Bucky are able to do that. They were able to carry the show nicely, although it's only 6 episodes, but that's still about 4 hours of footage.
yeah.
So it was the equivalent of watching a Snyder cut. Cough, cough. Anyway, yeah, that's my initial thoughts. What do you guys have to say about that?
Honestly, I love the show. I mean, it covered a lot of topics that people are usually either too afraid to talk about or topics that people consider too controversial at this point. I mean, the topic about how African Americans were being treated in the country and how people were not going to accept a African American Captain America, and then us seeing the story of how Sam came to find his identity and how he came to find himself in the role. I love that arc completely. Not to mention Bucky going over that book of his with the names and finally coming to the point where he started moving on with his life.
To be honest, I think this was a fantastic show, but I feel that this wasn't their intended approach. They didn't want to go on towards a show. I think they wanted to go with some kind of movie, maybe a direct to TV kind of movie sort of deal, and then the pandemic happened, and then things just went out of control. Because this works really good as one movie. I don't know if this show, even 6 episodes of this show, if it was worth this format. What do you say?
So what I have to say about that would essentially be that it's the same issue. Like there's a lot of stuff going on in this show, right? So to compress that down to about 2.5 hours, or if we're being very generous, 3 hours, would have been a bit of a problem, because you would have lost out on a lot of different things. You would have lost out on some character development. You would have lost out on those wholesome moments with the Sam Wilson family. And it's just that, okay, personally, I feel like a TV show was the right approach because, I think we mentioned this on our podcast at one point, but like the episodes have a structure, and the movies have the similar structure, right? So, Act One, Act Two, Act Three. So when you focus on one whole movie, Act Two becomes longer, right? So you're focusing all your efforts on Act Two, but when it comes to taking the TV show approach, you're able to have 6 separate Act One, Act Twos, and Act Threes, which allow you to build a bit more of the story, allow you to introduce new characters somewhere in the middle without having to throw off people. Right, you can introduce arcs in episodes that you can't introduce in movies. So, um, the power broker arc that happened, I'm pretty sure we would have lost that entire scene in the movie, right? So
Yeah, most likely.
so that is something that we could have only gotten in the series. and we couldn't have gotten that or anything similar in a movie.
Yeah, but let's be honest, that it didn't really make a big difference in the show as well.
It may not have made a difference in this show, but it's clear that they're
Yeah.
setting up for Armor Wars.
Oh yes, very clearly.
Yeah.
So that's something to look forward to because Armor Wars is the War Machine show, and Rhodey was in this show, so Illuminati confirmed.
Yeah, but well, apart from a little filler content, this was a decently, I'm gonna say well-paced show, decently paced show, let's say. Not well, but just decent.
Yeah, it started kind of slow, considering the first three episodes moved
Mm.
very slowly, but then suddenly they just brought all this material out. Like, okay, we bored you for the first three. Here's everything that you need to know in the next four episodes.
3 episodes
Three
technically, but
episodes.
yeah. But yeah, I agree with that.
I mean,
All right,
yes,
favorite
I agree.
moments.
Favorite moments. Oh wow, so many. Zemo in
Okay, just
comic.
one.
Okay, can I get three?
Okay, fine. Okay, we'll go with 3.
Zemo in comic costume with the purple mask was definitely a favorite moment for me. The U.S. agent reveal with the comic accurate costume
Yeah.
was really, really good. And finally, Bucky throwing a shield into the window and coming in the Captain America outfit, which that was quite the entrance.
You mean Falcon, not Bucky. You, Kanza?
Okay, so I'm pretty sure Romero at this point already knows, but watching John Walker get his ass kicked was just, it was much needed therapy for my mental health at that point, to watch him get his ass handed to him and then be like they weren't even super soldiers.
Oh, yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, that was
Yes.
amazing.
Hmm. That was amazing. But the best part of that is how they actually use that as something to drive his motivation forward. I found that
Yeah,
like,
that was
good stuff. Good stuff, yo.
amazing.
I think,
And then I would say the Sam and Bucky's therapy session. I feel like that opened a lot of doors for them and they became a lot closer after that. And then most probably where John Walker went all loco with the shield on somebody's head.
hmm,
That was
That was brutal.
amazing to watch. That was brutal, which is the only reason why I love it so
We
much.
wouldn't have gotten that in a PG-13 movie, just saying.
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
that's true.
I think I only have one favorite moment, and I think Samin's gonna agree with me with this. Dancing Zemo, and then the
Dancing
Of
Dancing
course.
Zemo
Zemo.
cut. Yeah, like,
Dancing Zemo cut.
Oh,
yeah,
they gave us that cut in like a day.
No,
yep,
They were like, we were already ready for this.
yep.
that was
They listen
so
to the
good.
fans.
That was good stuff, though, man. It was really good stuff. I think the clapping over, the clapping and the finger twirl, they always get me.
Yeah.
Like Zemo, baby, no. That is not how you dance at a club. It starts off fine, but the twirling and the clapping, it just makes
The,
like
The
what
twirling is where I lose it.
the twirling is where I lose it too. Like, what was the direction on that twirling? Like, all right, now I need you to pretend you have a horseshoe on your finger.
Or they just
uh,
let him loose on the set and somebody forgot to play the music, so he just had to go along with whatever was in his head.
maybe he was feeling hot.
Just
And
followed
he's
it.
like, "Pankha chala do," turn on the fan. I'm feeling hot in here. Okay, worst moments.
I have to say, I wasn't a fan of Carly Morgenthau as a villain, right?
Okay.
Mainly because they tried to give her some depth in the sense of, having a purpose and all that jazz that we do for villains instead of just flat out making them evil. But the truth is, she is just flat out evil, right? Because she doesn't, like, some of our, like, in the recent villains we've been getting in comics and in movies, they've been a bit less one dimensional, a bit more three dimensional. They've had motives that make sense. They've had character like driven plots and everything like that. And apart from the first few Marvel villains and a couple of DC villains, we have recently been getting some really good villains. But when you come in, like even Agatha as a villain had a purpose, right? She wasn't just flat out evil. She was with Scarlet Witch from the beginning, and she kind of observed her and told her, "Okay, I just want to know where you got your magic from, because I want your magic." And that was the motivation. But I feel like the writers for Carly were a bit confused. It became less of we need to bring together all the people we need to unite all the people together, and it became more let's kill these people just because, right? And that kind of lessened the impact of her death towards the end of the show, right? Because if she had been a bit more two-dimensional, she would have been much that death that shooting her would have been a bit more impactful to us as an audience. But because the show kept portraying her as a flat-out villain, it kind of just didn't matter to us at that point. That's like my least favorite thing about the entire show.
Okay, Kanza, you?
Honestly, I feel like they probably should have covered Bucky more. I mean, a lot of the episodes were spent on Sam trying to find his identity as Captain America. They were spent on him talking to Carly. It was more about Carly. We saw a lot of Carly in this show as well, but it was mostly covered as villain, like Omer said. But I was really hoping we would be able to cover a lot more of Bucky as well. I mean, his name's in the show as well.
I guess for me, it would be Sharon Carter's arc. Like, I feel like they wasted her as a character. They just like, oh, she's a power broker. I mean, they hinted at it, and then they revealed her as the power broker. But then that particular arc, it didn't vibe well with me.
Yeah, I mean, the episode title even was Power Breaker.
Yeah, where she made her
And
I
first
then
didn't
appearance.
read
they
the episode.
bring her to the episode.
When we watched that episode, I straight up messaged Kanza like at that time, "Okay, she's the power broker. I'm calling it right now." And then
Yeah,
It was too obvious.
it was
It
very
was.
obvious. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I wish they at least brought some sort of suspense to it, but
okay,
Mm.
I'm gonna just put in a plug right now. There'll be a link in the description. But pitch meetings by screenwriting, amazing content, amazing
Yeah,
content. They covered this. They covered this aspect of the show really well. So they're like, oh,
really,
so
really well.
there's this power broker who has this influence and has a lot of connections and is wreaking a lot of havoc. Oh, that's interesting. Yes. So we also introduced Sharon Carter, who seems to have a lot of connections and also is very influential now. Oh, so she's the power broker? No, no, she's not. And then at the end, we reveal that she is the power broker. Yeah, we already know that. No, you didn't.
surprise.
Uh,
They did the
Also,
best
her
job.
covering her tracks the way she did, nah,
She
felt a
could do
little.
better.
Yeah, she could have done way,
She could
way
have done
better.
a lot better.
Honestly, I feel like
Yeah.
the show wasn't exactly trying to hide it from us. If I'm being very honest. Um, like Kanza said,
Maybe.
the episode was called Power Broker, and at the end of that episode, she gets in a car talking to somebody on the phone, and she happens to have a driver and everything like that ready for her. It was pretty damn obvious right there. And I don't think they were trying to
Yeah.
be
Mm.
that, but they did try to
They
do the
were trying to
whole.
keep her under the radar.
They also tried to do this whole bait and switch with her being yelled at on the phone, but I don't think that would have been enough to like derail it. Like, nah, that could just be a buyer who's really upset
Yeah.
that one of disaster. So I just feel like the power broker is going to play a larger role in Armor Wars because all of Stark's technology is unaccounted for, and there could be a lot of free range armors running around in that show. So let's see. War Machine has to go and stop it
I'm so
Yeah.
looking forward to
That's
that.
gonna be an interesting thing. When is that coming out? Next year, right?
next
Yes,
year.
I think so.
I feel like overall the show. What's your guys' score? I mean, like overall the show was, in my opinion, it was a good watch. I could see it like if I ever decide to go through that whole MCU rotation again, I do think I would put this in the mix. Right? I do think I would sit down and watch these 6 episodes again. It's not like I'm just gonna leave it out just because it's a show.
I probably would not. No, I mean, I wouldn't leave it out just because it's a show, but this nothing much really to offer except for maybe the last 3 episodes, maybe the last two episodes for sure, the last two, but then last three maybe I don't know. For some weird reason, I liked the episode just before the finale
Mhm.
more than the finale itself. Like there was a lot happening over there,
Yeah, there was a lot
but
in that episode.
What's there though?
and then they rushed the finale.
Was there a lot
Like
happening in that episode
there
though?
was this weight to it.
The suspense.
There was weight to it, right?
Let me tell you what
The
episode 5 is,
suspense,
because
the
you
feels.
guys are remembering, you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys are remembering the episode 5 differently than it actually was, because that episode was 4 minutes, like 5 minutes of fighting John, then it was like 10 minutes of discussing who gets the shield, 10 minutes of Sam training with the shield, and the rest of it was family barbecue time.
Yeah,
What
but
I
it had like
loved,
feel to it, you know?
honestly, for me in that episode is when Sam came to the conclusion that he is supposed to be the captain. He is supposed to be the next Captain America. That's when we see the ending of his entire journey through the show, of coming to the point where, okay, not everybody's gonna like me as Captain America, but this is what they need right now. This is what I need to be. This
I
is what
don't.
everything I've been doing up until now has been.
I can't speak for everybody else, but I fucking love him as Captain America. He looks good.
Same
He
here.
acts the part.
Mm.
It's freaking amazing. Plus
The
the
outfit,
vibranium shield, the vibranium
oh,
wings
amazing.
just add more to it. It's overall amazing.
Yeah.
So, anything. There's one other good thing about the show I want to discuss really quickly before we move on to the end, unless you guys have something to discuss in addition. Um, John Walker's
Yeah.
descent into madness was well handled. Was very well handled,
So well handled.
right? From becoming that poster boy for that Captain America thing, right, and being this center of attention to
Mm.
now realizing he's not as good as people are making him out to be, and realizing he doesn't that the title of Captain America isn't what gave Steve that respect, and even though he has that title, it doesn't feel like he deserves that title or that it suits him. And then when he gets his ass handed to him by the Dora Milaje, and the decision to take that super serum as a result, that just it fit, right? It just fit with the entire journey that John had. I know people hated on him for like being Captain America, but the truth is I loved it because I knew what we were getting into from the start. We were getting into this US agent arc, and
Yep.
watching him descend into that chaotic state and then redeeming himself at the end just felt like the right course of action for that character, in
Yeah,
my
I
opinion.
loved how with every episode you could see more madness in his eyes, and it just goes to show how amazing of an actor he is.
It's in his face. Clean shave from episode one. Clean shave in episode
Yeah.
one, and every episode his stubble gets bigger.
Mm.
Yeah,
Right? And when he becomes US agent, he shaves again. It's a new beginning for him. It's a representation of his new beginning. It's just so good.
it was.
His arc was really nicely well done until the finale, where they just made him U-turn all of a sudden. They should have put him more in the gray zone rather than have him be a hero again. I feel like that U-turn was a little rushed, maybe, or maybe uh
I would argue that he's still in the gray zone because of the way
not
he
properly executed.
I would argue he's still in the gray zone because of the way he handled the situation. Because he did try to freaking kill the flag smasher straight up,
Yeah.
and obviously
Okay. Okay.
he was never portrayed as like the villain per se. He was more portrayed as a anti-hero or someone who just doesn't understand the line between good and bad, and just like he just needs something done in his fashion as
Mm.
long as he's getting the result. So like killing that dude, he justifies in episode 5, right? He killed him because he thought he killed Lamar. He was responsible for killing Lamar, and in his mind, he was
Yeah.
right. Right, even though morally it was wrong, but in his mind it was right. So it's more of an anti-hero thing. He wanted to kill the flag smashers, but he saved the people because he was still a U.S. Military officer at the end of the day. He still at one point donned the mantle of Captain America, which still means something to him. So
Yeah.
so I'd argue he's still in the gray area.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I feel like he portrayed Captain America more as a military agent instead of somebody that was a hero for everybody. He was still just following orders and doing what he thought would be right as a soldier,
Right.
not as somebody that would work as a hero for everybody.
True.
True.
So before we move on to scores and conclusion, anybody have anything else to say?
The new Falcon, Joaquin, underutilized, sadly. Amar, can we have the picture of what the new Falcon's supposed to look like somewhere here so people have a reference? They could have really made this work, like in the finale, just have the new Falcon come in. You know, it would have brought some extra
Flair.
flair. Yeah, yeah. And they could have made it look like Sam Wilson's the Winter Soldier outfit. You know, when he comes in, he's like all tactical, wearing his
Mhm.
tactical pants and all that. They could have
Yeah.
done this with his uniform because the color scheme is a green and yellow. So that would have worked really well with an army uniform.
So
Yeah.
I think they're mostly saving it because there is going to be a season two. Apparently, there's this talks of season two. WandaVision isn't getting a season two because it was recently submitted to the Emmys as a limited series. So
Oh,
Damn.
okay.
that was a one-off series, but there are talks of Falcon and Winter Soldier possibly getting a season two.
If they go season 2, I hope they don't go only 6 episodes. Maybe 10 would be nice. You know, have a little more length, have a little more better pacing and all that.
Have a little more to the story as well.
Yeah, because six was fun. Like they managed to do their job in 6, but it felt a little rushed.
Honestly,
Like,
we're a bit. I honestly can say that we're a bit acquainted to longer series
mm,
because we've been watching shows that have 13 episodes, 26 episodes, 24 episodes. Even like I've been recently watching Doctor Who, and that has like 13 episodes per season, right? And
yeah,
um, it's just that, and no, Invincible, right? Invincible has 8.
Yes.
yeah,
We're kind of entering this era where most people who binge content are on a time crunch,
yeah,
right? So for them to dedicate we want to binge, but we don't want to binge for too long, right? So we're kind of headed towards that direction where we're kind of tailoring content to it. Like
yeah.
6 episodes is 4 hours. You can sit down 1 4 hour sitting, watch all 6 episodes.
True,
Yeah.
true,
All of us did that very recently as well, so we know we can survive through that.
true again. No, but like how in the Netflix MCU shows, I say MCU shows, but we know that they're not. Those were 13 hours, and then the trend started coming down to 10 hours, 10 episodes, sorry, and then now 8, and then we're coming down to 6. Like eventually, they'll just give you one episode, and then like
Yeah, and
deal with
at
it.
this point, it's not just Marvel, to be honest, because the new Doctor Who season that's even supposed to come out next this year is gonna be like 9 episodes long. So
Is that because of the pandemic, or is that something else?
it's just because of the fact that so that people can sit and watch the entire show in one sitting instead of
Yeah.
taking too long to watch the show.
I would also like to point out that they're trying to make their content more like Sherlock. At one point, we're just going to get 3 1.5 hour episodes.
I have so
I just
much
got
I
a
can
text
say
from
right now.
Sohaib, and he's asked me to say, why can't Avengers ask for help of each other in a connected universe, especially after Endgame, when they're totally together? Yeah.
They,
Well, that
they
then
can.
it wouldn't be called the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It'd be called
The Avengers.
the MCU having fun. Yeah, the Avengers again.
I mean, I would.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would ask Sahib, why didn't Aquaman ask for the Justice League's help?
Oh. Oh, you're gonna take it like that, huh? He also says the
Coming in
Falcon,
strong with
Captain
his
America
night
suit,
comments.
while it's comic accurate, the Falcon Captain America suit, it didn't translate well on screen. I half agree with this.
I thought it looked great.
Half.
I thought it looked great.
I
Yes,
love this.
I do agree
It looked
that
fantastic. It looked
some
fantastic.
especially the shoulder areas kind of felt a bit weird.
Elements.
Yeah, like small little elements on the costume felt a bit odd, but
Like
overall it was a good costume. In my opinion. I mean,
it was a
had
good
worse.
costume, just a little tweaking would have made it a little better. Yeah.
No disagreement there.
To be honest, I felt like it should have been a little more sleeker,
more form
like
fitting.
the
More
Black
form-
Panther outfit. It's exactly more form fitting, like the Black Panther outfit. That would have worked really well because made in Wakanda.
Yeah.
So they could have just added a little more vibranium, a little less cotton,
there was too
or
much
whatever
vibranium.
material they use. Leather they use, I think, for all the outfits. Remember when MCU started off with just leather outfits, and
Oh
then
God.
everyone started doing that?
I thought that was
Crazy
Smallville.
times, yeah.
Smallville did that. Every hero in the Justice League had like a leather jacket that they would just zip up, and that would be their costume.
Yeah.
You think I'm kidding, Amar?
Yeah.
Amar,
No,
put
no.
a picture right here of the Justice
Yeah,
League.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I remember that.
Okay,
And then CW did it.
yes, CW did it. Okay,
Yeah.
we've digressed a bit much.
Yeah, we
Uh,
have. We have.
let's talk about scores. For me, this was a solid 9 out of 10. Right, it was slow. I
The whole
wish
series?
whole series as a whole. Right, it
Yeah.
was a 9 out of 10. Yes, there's some bias because, as everybody knows, I love Captain America stories. I'm a big fan of anything Captain America related. But the reason I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 is mostly because, yes, while there are lots of elements in the show that could have been avoided, or lots of elements in the show that we just didn't need, I feel like those elements add a lot more character than people realize. And despite having a weak villain, we still got some pretty good character arcs and a lot of good fight scenes. We got the transition for Bucky into coming to terms with the Winter Soldier, for Falcon into just becoming Captain America, and it was just an overall great show for me. I That's 9 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I mean, I totally have the same score. I mean, I loved Bucky's arc. I loved Sam coming to the conclusion of him being Captain America. Absolutely loved it.
For me, it's slightly less. I have it as an 8 out of 10 for the whole series. Every single episode included, even the slow moments. Like it balances out to an 8. The finale was fantastic, a little rushed but fantastic. The episode before that, fantastic as well.
Yeah, that was a
And
good episode.
yeah, it was a great series. Yeah, good stuff, yo. 8 out of 10 for me.
We will discuss this
Makes
later.
sense.
I'm just kidding. Anyway, thanks for
Yeah, this is
tuning
my
in.
last episode. They're gonna kick me out.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to TSF Reviews. I hope you guys enjoyed our discussion on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Our next TSF
Yeah.
reviews will have some bulletproof content.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
bulletproof indeed.
All right, see you guys.
All right, see you.